USC defeats third-ranked Utah 42-24 in the Coliseum, and the roller coaster ride continues. With Bill Plaschke and Gary Klein, I'm Lindsey Thiry for the Los Angeles Times. Bill, Vegas had Utah as an underdog. Did you think they were truly the underdog coming into this game?
No, and I thought this was a big upset. This is the first time in 40 years that an unranked USC team has beaten a top 3 AP ranked team. 40 years, and it was huge. It was a big sigh of relief from fans who had been enduring what I count a 16-day nightmare since they lost to Washington. The loss of Steve Sarkisian leaves the program. Pat Hayden's job is in jeopardy now. All this stuff's throwing around the program, and now they come out and do this. Huge, and the place was rocking. It was rocking tonight with joy and relief after what all they've been through. It was really nice to see for USC fans.
Gary, it came in an unexpected way. 3 interceptions for freshman linebacker Cameron Smith. How did USC's defense turn the corner?
They came into this game, I think, feeling a little bit of that chip on their shoulder. Everyone was talking about how Utah was so physical. They just came out, they stopped Devontae Booker, they harassed Travis Wilson, and Cameron Smith, one of the freshman linebackers that were part of that recruiting class, came in early in January, won a starting job. He's played solid all the way through the season, but tonight he showed he's a playmaker as well.
And Bill, in this victory, USC defeats Kyle Whittingham, who's been mentioned as a candidate for Steve Sarkisian's old job here at USC. Do you think there's any possibility that could happen?
Well, Gary's want to mention him as a candidate. So, Gary, you say now. Gary wrote Kyle Whittingham is here next year. He almost guaranteed it. So, Gary, what do you say? What say you now, Gary Klein?
Well, I think we have to see how Utah is finishing.
Now we have to see.
But tonight,
Bill, you said Cody Kessler was going to be a Heisman Trophy winner last winter.
Yes, I did. You're right. I get to walk that back. Although Kessler did well tonight. He did well. He didn't throw an interception for the first time in 3 games. He did well. And I love my favorite part of the game offensively was twice on 4th and 1 they went for it on the goal line, scored, and Helton, obviously getting a lot of criticism for not being physical, said, if that's not physical, I don't know what is. You know, he talks like a coach, and he has his hat down low over his eyes and everything. He sounds like a football coach.
Right.
Clay Helton, right?
Okay, Kyle Whittingham, let's get back to him. He had a chance to build his resume with USC fans tonight. That didn't happen. So I don't know if you can recover from that. In terms of resume building, though, and you mentioned Cody Kessler, taking a lot of flack from a lot of people about not coming through against good teams. I don't know how people forget that Stanford game here a couple of years ago, but that criticism was out there. He didn't play spectacular tonight, but he played efficient. He did not make mistakes that hurt USC, and he did it behind an offensive line that was shredded by injuries.
It's become very apparent that USC's young talent, Juju Smith-Schuster, Ronald Jones, those are really guys that could carry this team for the next several years. Bill, what kind of giant is here at USC?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think tonight it just showed the NFL talents everywhere out there. If they can be consistent and get a coach down the road, a permanent coach, and maybe it'll be Clay Helton if they win a Pac-12 championship.
Do you think it could be Clay Helton?
I think he's got to win a Pac-12 championship, but I think they could do that. I mean, they got to beat Stanford in the second time probably in the second game they play in. But if they get the right direction, this is a Final Four team. It always was a Final Four team if they get the right direction. Okay. Oh, well, Gary says no.
No, this was never a Final Four team, despite what
Bill Plaschke is saying.
Despite what some national pundits were saying, you can't just look at the talent. If you looked at this and you saw some of the areas that are still a concern, although I will say the defensive line came in and had some physicals.
Devontae Booker stopped this up. Devontae Booker tonight.
They did a nice job tonight. But going into the season, this was not a Final Four team. Those aspirations were out of whack, regardless of what happened with Sarkisian. What do you think?
I don't think that I'm going to be in the middle of you and Bill.
You are in the middle. Lindsey, the viewers are crying out to hear what you think. That's the one response we get from these videos is, what does Lindsey think?
Well, I will tell you this, that I
hear that all over LA. What does Lindsey think?
I predicted USC would be 8-4. They're well on their way to an 8-4 season.
Yeah.
I did not think that they'd be a college football playoff team. However, I think that if they can build momentum here, they're hitting their stride at a really good time to finish out this season, then go into 2016 with some momentum. Is that good enough, Bill?
That's good enough, and I think we'll have to see who the coach is going to be. But first, we have to find out who's going to hire the coach. I don't think we know yet who's going to hire the coach.
You don't think it's going to be Pat Hayden?
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how they think here. Max McCase has given them votes of confidence. The boosters and alumni have not. I don't know where it goes. He's had health issues. I don't know where it goes from here. So I don't know. And I haven't heard any word that he's actually out looking for a coach yet. So I don't know. Gary, what do you think?
I think that's the big question. There are certainly members of USC's constituency and fan base that would like to see someone else make that hire. And Pat hasn't been real clear about. He told me earlier, a few months ago, may not be here beyond the year. He may be here for 10 years. There's some things that he wants to be involved in terms of the Coliseum and whatnot. But if he's not going to be here for the long term, do you really want to make a hire as an athletic director and then leave your successor in the same situation you were with Lane Kiffin, where you're inheriting a football coach? Or do you want to give whoever's going to be your successor that opportunity to make that hire?
I just think hope whatever happens, he does for his health. His health is the first and foremost. And we saw him collapse at Notre Dame last week. For his health, hope he makes the right decision. I can totally see him moving into a role where he deals with the Coliseum refurbishing, deals with the donors, deals with the boosters on an executive level, and lets someone else deal with the day-to-day of finding the football coach. I can see that happening, if no other reason than for his health.
So many questions, so many topics, only one night of football. Again, USC defeats Utah 42-24. The Trojans next head up to the Bay Area to go after Cal. Another game they could easily come away with a win, or on this roller coaster season, it could go the other direction. For the latest on the Trojans, be sure to keep it on the Los Angeles Times, and for all of Bill and Gary's work, head on over to the Times as well.
Times.com.